All right, here we go. So first of all, I want to thank everybody for coming because it's 8 o'clock on a Thursday night. A lot of you have kids and husbands and significant others and people that need you because that's what we women do. We have people who need us. And I'm thankful that you were here and you're going to listen to me share my story. And this is the first time that I've shared very much of it publicly. And it certainly isn't the whole thing, but I'm going to do what I can. Share what I can. And I have notes. So if I look over here, it's not my cat or my dog that I'm looking at, it's my notes. I don't want to forget anything. Okay, so there, just so that you, as a thank you for watching, at the very end of the this live class that I'm doing tonight, there are a couple surprises for those of you who endure my monologue till the end, because it's going to be a monologue because it's a live broadcast, and I guess that's what it's a live broadcast. So now I'm rambling, so I'm going to get back to my notes. There are two disclaimers tonight. The first one is that I'm not a doctor. I don't play a doctor on TV. I'm not even a pretend doctor. I'm a traditional healer. I use herbs, I use vitamins, I use food, but I'm not a doctor. And the second, there are actually two disclaimers. The first one is that I'm not a doctor. The second one is that this is my story. It's not yours. I'm not going to sit here tonight and tell you that this is the way everybody needs to approach their cancer. That's not the point. The point is that it's my story. And if you're watching this and you have cancer or you have someone you love that has cancer, they have their story. And there's going to be a different path for every single person. That's the point. That's the whole point. You have your story. I have my story. We all have permission to approach this how we want to and what feels best for us. And this is what felt best for me. And I think the main reason that I'm sharing my story is because I didn't have very much support. I didn't have very much support at all. The medical professionals didn't support me at all in any way, shape, or form, which I'll get to that in the end. But yeah, I didn't have very much support, and I wanted to tell my story because it was cancer, and it's gone now. And I did not take any chemo. I didn't do any radiation. I did opt to have surgery for a couple different reasons. That felt right to me. That felt like the thing that I should do was have surgery. So I did. One little warning is that, and I think if you've been watching my Facebook updates and on Instagram, you're going to know that you're going to see my boobs tonight. Little nipple pictures. Because it's probably the biggest external sign that how essential oils worked to heal, and it's like within a matter of hours you can see them working on this particular wound that I put them on. So we'll get to that in a minute. The reason I'm sharing the part of my story, my cancer journey, and I'm starting with how oils played a part was because somebody asked me, "Oh, what did you do? What did you not do?" Well, I can't say all that in one conversation. There were 100 things I did, 1,000 things I didn't do. There's no way I can really answer that. And this person just was like, not going to take no for an answer. So she said, "Okay, tell me one thing. If you had to pick one thing of all the stuff you did, what was the one thing that made the most difference?" And that was an easy answer. Essential oils. That was the easy answer. I use them every single day. I had them in my pocket. I had them in my purse. I had them stuffed in my pillowcase so that if I woke up at night and was nauseous or afraid or angry, or let me tell you, y'all, I processed all 5 stages of grief with this. This was no walk in the park. I was not in some, I don't want you to get the idea that I was in some Zen moment where everything is perfect and I meditate for an hour a day and I do yoga. And my life was pretty chaotic when this happened. In fact, I got the news of the cancer the same week that my dad passed away, really suddenly. And it was rough. It was really rough. It was really, really crappy is what it was. My oldest child got engaged and married that within a few months of there were so many things going on that I can't even remember them all. Thank goodness I kept a journal because I couldn't remember them all. But yeah, I use the essential oils every single day. And I think there are definitely many powerful uses for essential oils for physical healing. And I'm going to show you the picture in a minute is just of how quickly they work. And because I did chronicle most of this process in my journals and some videos and pictures. But for me, um, I've been thinking about this all day. How much of this do I want to tell? Do I want to tell the whole story? Because I probably better tell the whole story if I'm going to come out with it. And the truth is that the cancer I had was breast cancer, and it was way more emotionally difficult for me than it was physically. I have a really analytical brain. The man part of my brain is functioning way up here at the beginning, and my feminine brain was like way down here. So I have this theory, and lots of people have this theory that it needs to be about right here to be, to be really whole and well. And I was like this. My man brain worked really great. I could make decisions. I was analytical. When something emotional came up, it was like, I had no idea what to really do about it. So I would just get manly and walk away, or it was pretty textbook and pretty sad. And prior to this, I hurt a lot of people's feelings. And even in the beginning stages, I hurt a lot of people's feelings because I didn't include them in this. And I am sorry for that. I really, truly, I can't say that I regret it or that I would do it any differently because I wasn't capable of it. But the essential oils, they played such a powerful role in my emotional healing. And I had a wonderful coach that I worked with weekly, sometimes more than weekly. Her name is Christy. I don't know if she's watching. She is a fantastic woman. She was available for me and another friend, Jamie, who helped me with which oils to use because I was so emotional and that was new for me and I didn't really know which one to pick. Like I could get my encyclopedia out and pick one and that's all great and good, but I really didn't know what to do with them. So Jamie was there for that. I had a great chiropractor. I didn't have anyone overseeing my protocol, so I made all those decisions myself. I really felt my way through them. Like, I just felt what we think I would be faced with the decision and I would spend a day or two thinking and feeling about it and praying about it. My faith played a huge role in this as well. And then I would make a decision based on how it felt, which was new to me. Never done that before. I mean, really, I hadn't done that before. So back to the physical part of it, I want to cover that because it's really, it all ties in together, which was really cool for me. I had no idea that this was going to happen. When I picked the oil to treat topically, I had surgery and they did skin grafts on my nipples. So I had them take all the lymph nodes out, just like everything, take it out. Let's just do it all while we're in there and take it all. And then so they did some fat deposits and some restructuring and scan, and I got nice perky boobs now. I just said perky boobs on a live broadcast, but oh well. Anyway, I'm about to show you my nipples, so I guess me saying perky boobs isn't that big a deal. So yeah, so the oil what's fascinating to me is the oil that I picked for my skin infection that I developed on the skin grafts was exactly the oil that I needed for all my emotional stuff. Like it was wacky, weird, wild, wow. Okay, it was really wild. So I'm going to show you. Are you ready? Because we're going to get real up in here. All right. You need to understand that I'm about to show you a picture of my nipples. If you don't want to see them, you can black out the screen. Here we go. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to share my screen. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? Now I have a picture to show you on my, oh, where did it go? My Periscope people, you're going to have to see this another way because I don't know what I did with my picture here. It was right here. I don't know okay, everybody else, I'll try to turn the screen around so that you Periscopers can watch it, okay? So there is the, I don't know if you can see it or not. If you can see it, somebody wave. Yeah, you should be able to see it. Hold on, give me just a second. Okay. Okay, so on the left, you can see that that skin graft in the center there is really, let me turn this around real quick. I don't know. Can you see? I can't see what you're looking at. Hopefully you can see it on the Periscope too. Right there in the middle, you can see that's totally pus right there in the middle. You can see these lighter shades around the edges is where the skin graft is coming apart and it's starting to peel back. I went to see the surgeon and he said, "Oh, not that big of a deal. I mean, we'll put you on an antibiotic and it will probably work." And I said, "Probably means what? I need like the probability of this actually working is what?" And he said, 50-50. It's not that big of a deal. If it sloughs off, you'll just be left with flat skin there and you can go get a nipple tattooed on. Yes, that's actually what he said. Now, I want to come back here and yeah, okay. So let me just tell you that losing my nipple was that was kind of a big deal. I didn't want to lose my nipple. I was done having babies and I didn't need them like for practical reasons, but I was freaked the heck out. Okay, I left that office thinking 50-50. Awesome, 50-50. So there was no oil for me freaking out. There probably was, but I didn't have anything with me. I had Rescue Remedy with me, and so I used that on the way home. I'm thinking, this is 7 days post-op. What the heck am I supposed to do? I'm not okay with losing my nipple. I just lost 3/4 of my breasts. I had really large breasts before, and I don't want to lose my nipple. I don't want to lose it. I kind of like them, you know. I don't want to lose it. So I sit down and I turned on the man brain a little bit because the female brain was going, "Whoa," like this. And I sat down with, okay, so antibiotics gives me 50-50. Without the antibiotics, the surgeon said, 70, 60, more than 50-50 that it's going to, just fluff off. It'll just scab over and then your nipple will fall off. And he acted like it was no big deal, which that's another part of the story. It was a big deal. So I sat down with my man brain. Antibiotics is going to give me 50-50. Doing nothing gives me 60%. That 50-50 with the antibiotics comes with a few things that I'd really like to avoid. I don't want to have my nipple falling off and have a yeast infection at the same time. Hello? No fun. I didn't want to kill my immunity, which had already taken a big hit from the surgery and the anesthesia and, just being in hospital for that. I was an outpatient deal, but still, I didn't, and I hadn't used antibiotics in a very long time, like years. I hadn't used them. And I didn't really want to try to fight cancer with starting out with antibiotics. It just the yeast connection and all the stuff that goes with that. It seemed like a bad idea to me. So I decided I'm going to use the most powerful natural alternative medicine that I have, and those are essential oils. Because on the questions people ask me at the end is, are essential oils safe? They're absolutely safe, but they're absolutely medicine. They're absolutely medicine, so you should treat them like you do all your other medicines. If you wouldn't leave a pharmaceutical drug out on the counter, don't leave your essential oils out on the counter. Keep them in a case, keep them in a cabinet, keep them up where your kids and your pets cannot get them because they are very powerful. They're powerful medicine. So I'm going to show you, if you're watching on the Google Hangouts, I want to show you this picture again. The one on the left is see the pus and all that. This picture on the right is the same breast, and you can see that the pus is gone. You can also see the red part over here, the pink cat's way outside. You can see that that's pulled back right up against that scar. This is within 10 hours, not days, hours of using essential oil of bergamot. One oil, that's it. Up until this point, I had gauze over them and triple antibiotic ointment because that's what they said to put on it. And I'm thinking, you just had my nipples in a petri dish, so I'm going to do whatever I figured that's not like skin in your knee. I'm going to go with the medical protocol here. This is what it got me. My left one was really inflamed. The right one did not look great. Yeah, Kelly's asking me to turn it around. So here we go again. Can you see the pictures there? Hopefully you can. The one on the right is 10 hours later. Let's see if that's very clear for you. That should be good. So on the right is 10 hours later. You can see the pink, like I said, the pink down here is gone. The pus is completely gone. I did not wipe that off or anything. I just took the gauze square back off at the end of the day because I pretty much spent the day in bed crying over the thought of losing my nipples. The pain associated with this inflammation and infection was completely gone within probably 30 minutes of applying the oil. I applied it neat. That means I didn't dilute it with anything. 10 hours later, this is what it looks like. And it's all back the regular, like this is what it should look like. Now the brown pigmentation you can't see because it's kind of like growing new skin. So this is my areola. And then it's stitched. You can see a couple of the stitches now, which you couldn't see over here because they were infected too. Kind of crazy how well, it's just kind of crazy how well that worked. It was really wild. Okay, now I can't remember. Hold on just a second. Let me get back. If I can. I don't know what you're seeing or how to get back to where I was. Okay, there we are. All right, so I'm going to stop that screen share. So you can see the huge difference between before and after using the oil, because it was really pretty huge of a difference. And like I said, the pain essentially stopped. Now, I want to read you what my little oil encyclopedia book says about bergamot. This is the every herb and every essential oil, because essential oils are really basically very potent herbs. So that the medical constituents of the herb are super potent in the essential oil. That's what it is. That's what an essential oil is. So it's super concentrated, very potent medicine. This is the emotional, somebody said on Periscope, I never would have guessed bergamot. Neither would I. Bergamot gets a really bad rap for being skin sensitive. So it's not something you would want to apply neat, but I'll talk about that in the end. So let me read what the emotional profile for bergamot is. The herb, okay? So this is, because I've studied herbs for so long, since I was like 15, I've always understood and worked with the emotional piece of herbs. So it's just very much, if not more potent with essential oils than it is the whole herb. So here it is, the emotional profile for bergamot. Bergamot releases the need to be in complete control so that we can flow with life more easily. When we relax and trust the universe to handle the details of any life situation, we can release the fear of the unknown and become clear about our own mission. And see, I knew right from the beginning, this cancer was not going to be just about me. It wasn't going to be just something that I went through and then whatever happened after, I would just go on with life. I knew it was going to be a life altering, and I went with that. I wanted it to be. So then it says, this is why bergamot is helpful with dealing with dependency or compulsive tendencies that may be associated with all sorts of drugs, drinking, whatever. Not a drug or a drinker, but I was compulsive about other things in my life. So the whole point of bergamot is to let go and let God. You ever heard that phrase? Just let go, because you can't be in control of everything. You have to really let go. It opens up your heart chakra. So if you're big into that and you know what I'm talking about, it is pretty big medicine. That bergamot is what was really, really calling for me and what I chose to use there. So it's just perfect. Like, hello, needed my heart chakra open because that's the center for all the healing and in that region of your body, and then there's the emotional implications of that are pretty fantastic. So that nipple on the right that I showed you 10 hours later, it just continued to get better. I did never take antibiotics. I didn't use triple antibiotic ointment again. I didn't have to have it debrided, which is a fancy way of saying they take really rough gauze and scrape all that ugly skin off, and then it scabs off and your nipple's gone. Didn't have to do that. So thankful. Did not have to do that. So yeah, the bergamot was my oil. It was my oil really the whole time. I don't love it now. I mean, I like it, but it's not my favorite oil now. But during those first few months, bergamot essential oil was very, very, very important to my healing. It could calm me down when I was feeling really out of it. out of control. It was great for my nausea. It was kind of like, if you know anything about homeopathic remedies, there's something called a constitutional remedy. And it is the idea that the one homeopathic remedy can kind of balance your whole system out regardless of what's going on with you. Bergamot acted that way with me. And I've had clients who had, lemon would do that, or frankincense, or whatever else. So yeah, I had them everywhere. They were, like I said, in my purse, in my pillowcase, on the back of my kitchen sink. I had them in my laundry room. I had them in my bathroom. I had them everywhere. I didn't go anywhere without them. And bergamot was like, that was if I left my bergamot at home, I turned around and went back and got it. And that was true for about 6 months. I kept applying that to the scars. I'm not showing you my nipples today. I am not going to go there. You don't get to see what they look like today, but they're perfect. I mean, there's no sensation loss. There's no nerve damage. There's no, the scars are minimal. You can barely see them. I actually had a biopsy done in 2002, and that scar is much worse than the whole skin graft. And I really do put that on bergamot for being bergamot is great for skin. So I'm going to look at my notes here and see where I'm at. Yes, somebody's asking me on Periscope, did I feel drawn to the bergamot before I researched it? Yes, I had no idea this emotional stuff. I didn't find that out until weeks and months later. My oil lady said, why don't you try bergamot, because you're really emotional and I'm worried about you. So get the bergamot out and see how that works for you. And it was like, I don't know if it's going to work for my nipple, but it smells so good. I want to drink it. So she's like, that's it. That's what you want. Get it. That's what you want to use. So keep using it. And so I did. So no, I did the research on that actually at least a month later. Much later, I got out my herb book, and then in some of the essential oil references, it does talk about that. So it smells fantastic. Man, I love it. So I want to tell you, right. So now we're at the point where I give you 5 things. I have this thing about 5 things, usually 3 or 5 things. Those are my numbers. So the first one is how to choose an oil. Now, I have found this to be true. I started using oils in about 2004, 2001. I started buying a particular brand of oil, and by 2005, it was like my go-to. I used it all the time for everything. And let me see. The first thing to do when you use an oil, this has worked, is to smell it. Because of the emotional constituents of essential oils, you can pick the right one according to your encyclopedia, but then the emotional piece of it, you could not be ready for. Because let me tell you, there was a lot of things that I worked on, personal work, in the second half of that first year with cancer that I was not ready to touch with a 10-foot pole the first 6 months. And Christy, if you're watching, she can chime in here and say, yeah, totally. There was stuff she was not ready to talk about. So, for instance, I can give you a good example is patchouli. I hate the smell of patchouli. I know there are people watching that love patchouli and they smell like patchouli, and it's great. If it touches my body and my body reacts, my physical body reacts to patchouli. I don't get a rash. It's not like that. It's like I get a headache, and this is what an oil will do if you're not ready for it, if it's not the right oil. So take a minute, spend some time with an oil. The first thing to do is smell it. So just take the lid off of it and just, I see people, oh my gosh, I see people at these making takes, and I see all these people, okay, getting oils and like, oh, I want to smell that one, and oh, let's put that one, let's put this one on. This is not a perfume counter. This is not the mall. This is medicine. And the best thing you have for whether or not you're picking the right oil is the first thing is smell. So smell it. Fill your lungs all the way up with it. Hold it there for a minute. I guarantee you, if you count to 10 and nothing has happened to you, it's the right oil. Better yet, if it smells really good to you and you just think, ooh, I wonder what it tastes like, it's the right oil for you. If it's not the right oil, things like the scratch in the back of your throat. You might get a little like, oh, I'm getting a headache. You might feel tension in your shoulders. I get that hairball feeling like I got something in my throat, but there's nothing there, and I cough and clear my throat. Not the right oil, or I'll get nauseous. So they'll be one of the things that happen. Every oil, the second thing is every oil has that emotional component. So if you're not ready for that oil emotionally, if you're not aware that there's an issue there, because that's how you know you're not ready to deal with it, is you don't even know it's an issue. That oil is going to say, hey, are you sure you want to work on this? And your body's going to say, nope, I'm not ready to deal with my childhood trauma. Not going to do it. So you just get a headache, you get nauseous. It happens every time. So number two, is just listen to your body. And if you get that reaction, just take your oil and go, yeah, I'm not ready for that. So I'm going to set that on a shelf and just keep looking at it, and then do some research. What are the emotional components of that? What is it? Which chakra does it work on? What is it? And think about it, and then it'll come back to you. So smell it again and blah, blah, blah. Just keep working on that. Number 3 is be very careful mixing your own oils. Mixing oils together is a science. I know a lot of the oil people are going to get upset with me for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. It is not for the faint of heart. You could really make somebody sick mixing up oils together. Not necessarily for the medical piece of it or the physical healing part of it, but the emotional part of it. You do not want to have, 3 or 4 oils together that are working on all 4 different layers of your emotional health. That's chaos. That really is stressful, and it will push you right over the edge, my friend. It will push you right over the edge. Some of the really good blends by some of the well-known oil companies are very well researched, and those are probably fine. But for me, my patchouli issue is like my last issue. Patchouli has, I'm just going to give away the farm here. So patchouli has to do with how comfortable you are in your body. It really grounds you. It wakes up your emotions to your body, your physical body. I am not I'm not comfortable with my physical body yet. I still have a lot of hangups about that body image and just all that stuff. See, I just can't even really talk about it. So the patchouli is right over here on my shelf. I don't really talk about it very much. I'm not ready to talk about it. I will someday. But right now it makes me sick. It gives me a headache. I'm like, get the patchouli away from me. Not ready to do it yet. So any of those blends by any of the companies that have patchouli in it, I cannot do it. They give me a headache. They make me nauseous. They kind of make me feel like I'm coming down with the flu. I don't like them at all. So be careful mixing your own oils. So you don't want to just get crazy with it. You don't want to use 2 or 3 oils within a space of an hour. I would not recommend you doing that, maybe ever. Number 4 is that the physical qualities of essential oils are really pretty straightforward. The medicinal use of the herbs that the oils are made out of have been studied, and they've really been studied, and they've been around for hundreds of years. So whatever it physically says it's going to do, get a good reference book and just go with it. Be sure of what you're looking for, and then use it for physical. It's not really that specific. Read the warnings, but it's not as touchy-feely as the emotional constituent of the oil. It's pretty straightforward. Number 5 is get a quality oil. Now, I'm not going to pitch. I'm just going to tell you, buy a quality oil. So a quality oil that has third-party testing. I don't care whether they call it organic or not. Anybody that's researched the organic label knows it's not worth that much. You can buy the organic label. Not really interested in that. What the distillation process really tells you whether or not you have a quality oil and whether there are additives. So back to bergamot and why bergamot gets such a bad rap for being skin sensitive. Good grief. I had a sunscreen recipe that I put out last summer, and I had it had bergamot in it, and I had probably close to 100 messages, emails, texts. Don't you know that bergamot is skin sensitive? You can't put that in sunscreen. That's not true. The reason bergamot gets a bad rap for being skin sensitive is that some oil companies, during the distillation process, there's something called deterpenization. Not for sure what that is. All I need to know is that some companies use chemicals for that process. Okay, so when they use chemicals for that process, those chemicals hang around in the oil. Those chemicals are what are making your skin sensitive. It is not bergamot. Bergamot is wonderful for the skin. It's right up there with frankincense. It's really great for the skin. So the quality of oil matters. So what's the last part? That's my 5 things. And so it's not the oil of bergamot that's making you have this. Yes, you can be sensitive to bergamot. I'm not going to say that's not possible or that it's the company's fault. But by and large, that's why you have an issue with bergamot, is because of the process. So, now we get to go to the questions. Okay, so I had, oh gosh, almost 50 of you leave me questions, which is fantastic. And there were a few that were like stuck out. A lot of you asked these questions, and let me get that list out. How do I know essential oils worked? Okay, so I took frankincense internally. I did take frankincense every day internally because of there are a lot of really reputable studies on frankincense and how it works on cancer cells, and just how we know frankincense works on a cellular level for healing infections and things like that. We just know that it works well. So I used frankincense internally every day. There were quite a few people, quite a few companies out there that are careful to make any claims. And I'm not going to claim that essential oils or that frankincense cured my cancer, because that wasn't the only thing I did, so I can't say that. But I'm sure it helped. I could feel it helping. You saw how it helped my wound heal. And at that point, I was pretty committed to using essential oils internally, because if it was doing that to my skin, I could only imagine what it was doing internally. That was a big deal for me. When that skin infection reacted that quickly, that well, in just a matter of hours, I was pretty committed at that point to continue taking frankincense internally, and I still take it every day. The second question is it safe? I kind of touched on this a little bit, and it's medicine. Don't leave it laying out. It's absolutely safe. You do need to have quality reference books, and it's even better if you have somebody you can call that really knows oils, and you can ask them, hey, I take this medicine and these vitamins every day. Is this oil going to bother me? Is there something I should know about this oil before I take it or before I use it on my skin? That is invaluable. But yeah, essential oils are as safe. They're way safer than pharmaceutical drugs. If you would consider using a pharmaceutical drug, even something as benign as an antibiotic, you should have no qualms about using essential oils for yourself, for your family. It doesn't make any sense to me why you'd be afraid to use them. There's just, overdosing on essential oils. I'm not sure how it could even happen, because it would burn your mouth like a child. Just don't leave it laying around. That's all I'm going to say, is don't leave it laying around. So the third one is, could I feel it working? Yes, I could feel it working. I could see it working. My hair started growing back. There were a million things that were happening. I had more energy. Yes, I could feel it working. I did not do chemo. Told you that at the beginning. And then one more, I'll do one more question, because like 3 or 4 of you asked for it. Oh, do you really have to have so many different oils? I would say no, you don't. I would say there are probably, I'm going to pick 5 oils that everybody should have in their house. Everybody should have them in their house, because you will use them, and they will take the place of so many medications over the counter and prescription that you really need to have them. The first one is frankincense. I would have to talk for an hour on what frankincense can do for you. The second one would probably be lavender. Again, I could talk for an hour about lavender. If you can afford one oil, let it be lavender. If you can afford an expensive oil, quote unquote, let it be frankincense. It'll last you forever, and you'll use it every day. Lavender is the second one. So, and then I'm sorry, bergamot makes my list, because it's so good emotionally, so good for those meltdown moments and your kids and just all the stuff that's going on. And peppermint is a really good one too for nausea. I use peppermint in my tea. It helps digestion and the water retention from after having the surgery and the IV and all that. And so I think that's about it. Oh yeah, you waited till the end. So if you're still watching, hi, thanks for watching Periscope and on Google Plus too. I'm going to give away 10 20-minute guidance calls. So this is what I do now for a living. You can call me. We talk on the phone, we Skype just like this, or I can do FaceTime or several different things. But I'm going to give away 10 20-minute consultations. And the reason I'm going to do it is because I wish I had had somebody who I could bounce my ideas off. I had individual people, like I had a chiropractor, I had an oil person, I had a personal coach, but I didn't have one person who could, say yes, no, try this. I would rethink that. I didn't have anybody like that. And I don't want you to have to go through it alone. It's in my personality, it's in my life path to do things alone. And I'm part of my cancer journey was learning to accept support and to enjoy that and to enjoy people's company. So I totally do, but I would wish for no one to go through cancer alone, especially the natural route. I had to interview 4 surgeons before anyone would touch me before they would without scheduling chemo. They weren't going to do it. If I didn't schedule chemo, a couple of them wanted me on chemo before surgery, which just sounded like a bad idea. And some of them wanted me on it after. And I had to really look to find a surgeon willing to do surgery without scheduling chemo and continue to do follow-up. It was scary. Somebody else asked me that. Kristen asked me that. Was it scary? Were you scared? Yes, I was scared. And when I did start telling people, there was a lot of, oh my gosh, what are your kids going to do? Like I was already dead or something. I don't even know. We have been so brainwashed in our country to believe that a strictly allopathic path is the only way to treat cancer. And it's not. What it is not the only way. It is one way. And essential oils can be part of your journey however you choose to treat your cancer. So I'm here. Text me if you'd like one of those 10 spots. Three of the 10 people the first 10 people that schedule a call with me, it's a free call. I'm not selling anything. I'm available if you have a question about oils or cancer or whatever you want to talk to me about for 20 minutes, we'll do it. 3 of those 10 people I'm going to randomly draw and send you a bottle of bergamot because it's awesome and everybody should have it. And I think that's it. Thanks everybody for coming and watching. And yeah, I think that's it. Thanks for coming and watching. And I'm around. You can find me on Facebook. You can get my newsletter. Go to thefemininehealer.com. There's a newsletter sign up. And of course, I'm on Facebook and Instagram and everywhere else. So thanks so much for watching. And I'll catch you on the flip side.